Blueprints of Redemption. Sebastian Cole sat in his sleek, glass-walled office, staring at the sprawling city skyline he had helped design. Every towering building was a testament to his skill, his vision, and his ambition. Yet, no matter how far his accomplishments reached into the heavens, the weight of his past always dragged him back to earth. He ran a hand through his jet-black hair, his sharp features set in a brooding expression. The scandal that had nearly destroyed him 2 years ago still haunted him. A miscalculation in a high-profile project had led to structural failures and endangered lives. Though Sebastian hadn't been directly responsible, the blame had landed on him. To make matters worse, the scandal had driven a wedge between him and Claire, the woman he'd thought he would spend his life with. She had left, unable to endure the strain of being with a man whose career and reputation had crumbled overnight. Now, 2 years later, Sebastian was on the cusp of a comeback. A new project, a community center in the heart of the city, offered him the chance to prove himself again. But redemption wasn't just about blueprints and steel beams. It was about rebuilding the man he used to be. At the project site, Sebastian met Evelyn Monroe, the city council liaison overseeing the project. She was nothing like Claire. Where Claire had been soft-spoken and gentle, Evelyn was bold, direct, and unafraid to challenge him. "You might be the architect, but this is my community," she said during their first meeting, her piercing green eyes locking onto his. "I'm not letting you cut corners." Sebastian bristled but respected her tenacity. "I don't cut corners," he replied, his tone sharp. "Not anymore." Over the weeks, their working relationship evolved from contentious to collaborative. Evelyn's passion for the project was infectious, and Sebastian found himself inspired in ways he hadn't been in years. One evening, as they reviewed plans late into the night, Evelyn leaned back in her chair, her auburn hair catching the dim light. "You know," she said thoughtfully, "for someone as guarded as you are, you pour a lot of heart into your work." Sebastian hesitated, caught off guard by her observation. "Maybe that's because my work is all I have left." Evelyn tilted her head, studying him. "I don't believe that. You're more than your career, Sebastian." Her words struck a chord he hadn't realized was still tender. As the project progressed, so did their bond. They shared stories over takeout at the site, and Sebastian found himself laughing in a way he hadn't since Claire left. Evelyn had a way of seeing through his defenses, of reminding him that there was more to life than redemption through work. One afternoon, as they walked through the half-finished community center, Evelyn asked, "What's the story behind this place for you? Why take on something so different from skyscrapers and luxury towers?" Sebastian hesitated before answering. "Because I needed to remember why I started. My first design was for a shelter in my hometown. It wasn't glamorous, but it mattered. Somewhere along the way, I lost that." Evelyn smiled softly. "Looks like you're finding it again." Their connection deepened, but Sebastian couldn't shake the shadow of his past. When Evelyn invited him to dinner with her family, he almost declined. He wasn't sure he deserved the kind of warmth and acceptance she offered so freely. But Evelyn had a way of pushing him out of his comfort zone. That evening, surrounded by laughter and the aroma of home-cooked food, Sebastian felt a flicker of something he hadn't dared to hope for: belonging. Afterward, as they walked under the city's glowing streetlights, Evelyn reached for his hand. "You don't have to carry your past alone, you know," she said softly. Sebastian stopped, turning to face her. "I've made so many mistakes, Evelyn. How do I move forward when I'm still haunted by them?" She cupped his face in her hands, her gaze steady. "You move forward by letting people in, by forgiving yourself." Just as Sebastian began to believe in the possibility of a future with Evelyn, his past reared its head. A former colleague leaked a story to the press, rehashing the scandal and accusing Sebastian of using the community center project as a PR stunt. The news spread like wildfire, threatening to derail everything he had worked for. Sebastian withdrew, retreating into himself as doubts and guilt resurfaced. Evelyn wasn't having it. She stormed into his office, her eyes blazing. "You don't get to push me away because you're scared, Sebastian. You don't understand," he snapped. "Every time I think I'm moving forward, my past pulls me back. It's better if I just deal with this alone." "No, it's not," she said fiercely. "You're not alone, Sebastian. I'm here. And so is every person who believes in this project." Her words broke through the wall he had built around himself. For the first time, he let the tears come, let the vulnerability show. Evelyn's unwavering support and the trust of the community helped Sebastian weather the storm. The media frenzy died down and the project moved forward. On the day of the grand opening, Sebastian stood before a crowd, his voice steady as he spoke about the journey that had brought him there. Evelyn stood in the front row, her smile reminding him of all he had gained. After the ribbon cutting, Sebastian found her by the garden she had insisted on including in the design. "You saved me," he said quietly. Evelyn looked up at him, her eyes shining. "No, Sebastian, you saved yourself. I just reminded you how." As the sun set over the city, Sebastian and Evelyn walked through the community center, now filled with laughter and life. For the first time in years, Sebastian felt a sense of peace. He had rebuilt his career, his heart, and his future. And this time he wasn't doing it alone.